What's up, everybody? I'm gonna give you my two different versions of the swarm lure. One is gonna be your most basic, bare minimum swarm lure, and the other one is gonna be a slightly more weather-resistant version. Your basic swarm lure is gonna be just lemongrass oil, just your basic lemongrass oil. You can get it pretty much at any store, any health food store. You can get it online. It's pretty cheap, pretty readily available. You can get it at a candle shop, even places with incense and that kind of stuff. A lot of times they'll have various essential oils and that kind of stuff that you can use. Lemongrass, basic, easy. One thing that you can do too is plant lemongrass around your property if you want to draw the bees in a little bit and not specifically use a swarm box. The slightly more weather resistant one is, the recipe is 2 tablespoons of beeswax, 1/4 cup of olive oil, and 40 drops or 2 milliliters of lemongrass oil. This is going to give you a 3-ounce mixture, and the way to do it is kind of create a double boiler for yourself, or using a container that you don't really mind getting dirty, because the wax is going to stick to it a bit. And the olive oil will help thin it down a little and make it a little bit more pliable for any future use that you have with it. A lot of times, once you melt these things together, you're going to want to melt the beeswax and the olive oil together in a double boiler, low and slow heat. Pull that off the heat, let it cool a little bit, then add your lemongrass oil, mix it in together. Mix it fairly slowly, smooth movements for about 2 minutes or so. Let it cool until you can tell that it's kind of starting to harden a little bit. It'll get a little bit of what looks like a film. It'll thicken up, not really like a cream, but sort of like a chapstick type texture. Once it reaches that, or a little bit before then even, go ahead and pour it into a container or a little bottle, whatever you have available. This you can take and use. Typically people use a Q-tip or a cotton swab. Get some of the swarm lure on there, and then set it in the back of your swarm box or whatever you're trying to attract them to. If you want to use a bigger batch, or you want to go ahead and paint or coat plastic cell frames, then go ahead and scale that up, make a bigger batch. Then you can coat your plastic cell frames, and they'll go ahead and use that, incorporate that into the wax that they use and build if and when they accept your box as a new home. So that's the basics on the swarm lure. It's super easy, super cheap. I know you can buy a couple of different products online. There's some swarm traps that you can find that are about $5. Or swarm lures, not swarm traps. The swarm lures are about $5, but they come in very small amounts. You can get them in a larger, I think, 8 or 10 mil vial for like $35-40, or you can go ahead and make your own. Depending on the strength and ratio of each one that you do as you scale it, it'll kind of affect the effectiveness a little bit. But you can play around with the recipe and make it your own. If it does or doesn't work, you can try a few different things. So, that's my swarm lure recipe. And if you have any questions or anything else, definitely let me know. I was checking my notes here to make sure I gave you the right measurements and everything. So, yeah, if you have any questions, definitely let me know.